Hi guys, just a quick review today on the Topdon 808BT diagnostics tool. I'm going to be using it on a Mercedes W212 E220. Just give you a quick rundown of the features and things that it can do. So it comes with a nice carry case, you can see over here, well padded and protected. It's got a charger with it as well, but I don't keep it in the case because the battery lasts more than enough for a day's use. Down in the bottom left hand corner here you have the OBD2 dongle, which stores neatly in the machine, and it gives you a reminder every time you exit the diagnostics. It gives you a reminder to remove this from the vehicle. Has the 3 lights on it there. The green one in the middle lights up when it's got power from the OBD2 port. There's no batteries in this or anything like that, purely powered from the car, so you don't have to worry about that. The blue light on the right hand side is the Bluetooth communication, flashes when it's communicating with the actual handheld device. And the red one on the left is to identify any errors or anything that may happen. I haven't had that come up yet. I've used it on a lot of vehicles. This is, I mean, I've used high-end diagnostics, Autel, Snap-on, dealer level diagnostics as well, various dealers. If you're buying this, it's not going to do everything that a dealer level diagnostics machine will do. It will code injectors, for example, throttle bodies, things like that on most vehicles, and it's, to be honest, I'm impressed with it so far, but nothing is going to compare to a dealer level diagnostics machine really. So I've plugged in the OBD dongle into the OBD2 port. I've got the ignition on. The dongle's beep to say that it's okay. Press the power button. This is the main screen. So you have scan on the left hand side, which you can run a health check, for example, to I'll go through this more in a bit more detail in a minute. You can run a health check, for example, which will run through all the systems that it can detect: ABS, SRS. On this Mercedes, it will also do the DPF, the head unit, all the extra systems that you have on modern vehicles. It will do most of them. Then you have the OBD here, which will give you basic OBD2 diagnostics, like the raw form without the model specific stuff. Then you have maintenance and service, which I'll just go into now. This is where you can do your adaptions and things. For example, you can bleed the ABS system, adjust the battery management system. So on some vehicles, when you replace the battery, you'll need to tell the ECU that that's been done. Coolant bleeding for ones with didn't mean to click on that. For ones with electronic pumps, that's the notification that I was telling you about. When you exit any form of the diagnostics, it tells you to remove the VCI so that you don't forget and leave it in a customer's vehicle. Just okay that. Electronic throttle sensor, EGR valve adaptions. You can do immobilizer injectors, coding new injectors. Gearbox. This is an automatic Mercedes that I'm in with the 7-speed. You can readjust all the parameters and settings for that. NOx sensors for vehicles with them. You can adjust the seats if you've got electronic seats. Start stop, you can disable it so that it doesn't come on automatically when the vehicle starts. I quite often turn my start stop off on this particular vehicle because when you're sitting in traffic, it can be quite a pain if literally the engine turns off and then you've got to creep forward a couple of meters, then the engine turns off. That keeps going on like that. So you can turn it off, on, check what activates it and what signals it's getting. Sunroof, suspension, tyres, TPMS, put it into transport mode, adjust the windows. This is all the adaptions that it does mainly for updating settings and adjusting things. Updates on the bottom right here. This has a lot of updates, which I think is a good thing. They're supporting their product. You can update various different things specific to your model, as well as the actual software itself will update. So the arti folder here, that's where it stores any reports that you save and a history of all the vehicles you've connected to. Then you've got repair info, which is this one. It's got fault code library, which to be honest I haven't had to use yet because it normally picks up the fault code and gives you a description next to it, so you don't need to look it up anyway. Coverage list, learning how to use the device, etc. Okay, so updates. It does lots of updates, which I personally think is a good thing. It shows they are continuing to support the device. I am sort of connected to my Wi-Fi at the moment. You can see in the top left corner there, I've got very weak Wi-Fi signal, so I don't know whether it will do any of these latest updates. But there's lots and lots of updates for various things, different models. You can see model specific stuff, and the software itself also updates regularly, which again I think is a very good thing, because again they're supporting their product. It's all updated via Wi-Fi, so you don't need any extra cables or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to run a scan. This is the screen you come to. You can choose directly from the screen if you want to, but auto search is generally what I use. It will run through. The beep shows that it's detected it. I'll just cover up my VIN number a bit, but it's detected the VIN number. It says Mercedes 2002, and it's just loading. So it's got the diagnostic information. Whoops, there's my VIN number, never mind. So you can do health report, which is basically like an all over report. It will run through all the systems, check if it can detect them. If it detects them, it will interrogate them and see if there's any faults in them. System scan, it will go through and determine which systems you have and give you a list, and then you can choose to either go into them or not and look for fault codes, etc. Or system selection, if you know exactly what you want, say for example the PCM or the SRS, you can just select that system. It's quicker than doing a health report, which will scan everything and check everything. But I'm going to do a health report because it's not that long, so you just click on health report. Do you wish to carry out a quick test? Yes. Switch on the ignition, it's already on. And it will now run through, and I'll bring you back in a second. It shows you the time at the bottom as it goes through. It's telling me there that I've got 2 fault codes in the ECM. It can take a few minutes depending on how many systems you have in the car, etc. So I'll bring you back in a second and show you when it's finished. Okay, so it's finished scanning all the modules. It took around 3 minutes, so that's not too bad at all. Even the dealer level diagnostics, if you do a full scan on them, they take a similar amount of time. It's brought up all the faults, the systems with faults. It's put them up to the top. As you can see, they've got numbers next to them, and it also shows you all the other systems that it's been through that haven't got faults. ESP, for example, electronic ignition lock. All these ones are fine, they go to the bottom of the list, but as you can see, it's been through lots and lots of different systems. Whoops. Sorry guys, I'm trying to do it one-handed and I keep pressing the wrong things. Anyway, go back up to the top, and these are your ones with faults logged in them. So we'll have a look at the engine control module first, as that's what I'm currently interested in. You see it brings you up the 2 faults here. So we've got exhaust back pressure, sensor 1 has malfunction, the signal offset is outside the permissible range, and connected to that, which is actually the issue I'm looking at with this vehicle at the moment, the input for differential pressure sensor 1 in the diesel or gasoline particulate filter has a malfunction. There is an internal component fault. So this is what I'll be looking at today, but I won't bother you with that on this particular video. So you can quickly pull up the fault codes in each one. So let's go rear signal acquisition module. Trunk low compartment lamp 2 has malfunction. There is a short circuit to ground. Well, again, I'll be looking at that, but helpfully, if you want to click on the question mark here, it brings up a browser, and it will search for that specific error code automatically. I mean, you can, it's Google basically, so you can delete that and type whatever you like, use it as a browser, but that looks up that specific fault for you automatically, and it works just like a browser on Android. You can go forwards, backwards, click on any of these. So what else we got? We got audio command modules got a fault in it, and Parktronics got a fault in it. We're not really bothered about any of these. We'll check them before login to the server has failed. That's a common one. So yeah, then let's go into the engine control module, switch the engine on, data is being loaded. So once we're in the engine control module, we can get the module information, which will tell you the software version, etc., that you're currently running. You can read the fault codes, which is basically the same as the quick view that we've just done. It gives you a little bit more information if you click on them, and then click the back button. Clear the fault codes, that's self-explanatory, it will clear them. And then read data stream. This is where you're going to get your live data from. There's various different, I mean, there's pages and pages of information here that you can go through. So you can check diesel particulate filter, ash content. I don't need to actually see this because I've already looked at it, but I'll go through it anyway just to show you. So, whoops, out of focus slightly, it's saying ash content of diesel particulate filter is 0 grams. I know that because it's just done a regeneration not long ago. There's literally pages and pages of things that you can look at here. It helps with diagnosing things like, for example, with the particulate filter, error codes that I've got. If you weren't sure if the particulate filter was blocked, for example, you can look at the pressures before and after the DPF sensor and see if there's any errors there, or if they're reading high, you can then work out that it may be blocked. So again, let's just exit this. So we're back onto the main diagnostics here. So just going through the quick buttons on the right hand side here. Home button will take you home. Again, it will exit, reminding you to take out your dongle. Clear DTCs, which will obviously clear all the systems with faults in, and report. This will generate a PDF report listing all the systems tested and all the faults that are detected within each system. It looks quite professional. You know, you can give it to a customer. It's got your garage name at the top and contact details, etc. Similar to other reports you'd get from, say, a gas tester, etc. So let's go back home. In fact, no, let's clear the faults on this first. So it will only clear the faults in the systems that it's detected a fault. So as you can see on the left hand side, it makes it much quicker. It doesn't go through all the other systems. So there you go, 13 seconds and 100%. All the fault codes have been cleared, and no faults have returned. So it's just going through, finishing off. Which I won't make. Oh, there you go, it's gone anyway. So cleared fault memory is completed. So okay, then we can go back to the home screen. Again, don't forget to remove the VCI from the vehicle. Back to the home screen again. So I'll just take you through some of the settings menu. You've got the browser there, so if you just want to use the browser to Google something else, you can. Customer management, you can store customer details in there. Same for your business information. When you do a PDF report, for example, your business information will be there. USB connection mode, I don't use that, but you can connect this via USB. Screenshots, again, I don't really use that, but you can take screenshots of the data that you're pulling up. It can help you with diagnosing certain problems. Screen recorder again, so you can record what you're doing. For example, if you've got a live graph going and you have to take the vehicle for a test drive, rather than having to glance across, you can record the screen and then scroll back through the entire drive to view when a sensor showed the wrong reading or when a particular fault was triggered. Network, that's Wi-Fi. So when you're connected to the Wi-Fi, you can do all your updates, you can use the browser, etc. Volume, brightness, they're pretty self-explanatory. Unit of measure, metric and imperial, language, time zone and sleep time. So the screen will turn off if inactive after 5 minutes, but you can change that. Firmware fix, if anything ever goes wrong, if it's not booting up properly, etc., or not loading the software correctly, you can do that, and it should reboot the whole device. Diagnostic software clear. There's, as I say, there's so many updates that you could find yourself running out of space. So for example, you can just clear all the software, diagnostic software, which is the specific stuff, i.e. BMW, Audi, Mercedes, etc. But there's also a lot of vehicles that aren't even sold, I'm in the UK, that aren't sold in the UK and you may never come across. So for example, you could clear it all and then just download the ones that you want, the common ones you work on. Reset file manager, that's where all your files are stored, any saved reports, etc. Help, app update, and about gives you the details. So let's just quickly go into the OBD menu. So it's just loading up into OBD2 menu. So it's going through the different OBD2 protocols to work out which one is the best one to communicate with this specific vehicle. So it's obviously OBD2 ISO CAN bus protocol. So there we go, it's the top one. So click on that and it's now communicating with the vehicle. Again, VIN number, meal status, number of DTCs that's stored in the ECU, the readiness checks, whether how many have been completed and not completed, how many different data streams it supports, i.e. reading of live sensors, etc. And what type of vehicle it is, ignition, compression. So for example, if we go to readiness completed and then OK, it will tell you all the different OBD2 things that you can look at. So read live data, readiness tests, for any freeze frame data, fault codes, clear fault codes, onboard monitoring tests. So let's just have let's just have a look at read some live data, because obviously we've cleared the DTCs that are in the vehicles, there won't be any there. But for example, let's look at accelerator pedal position. So it's saying it's 5.882%. If I put my foot on the accelerator, you can see it's changing. Now if you click on this here, it'll give you a graph of it, which I was talking about earlier. You know, for diagnostics purposes, there you go, there I'm putting my foot on the accelerator, and if I slowly release my foot off the accelerator, you can see. So if, for example, you had a fault with a pedal position sensor, you could press the pedal and hopefully you'd see from the live readings that there's a fault with the pedal sensor. So overall, I'm very impressed. This is my current go-to diagnostics device at the moment if I'm out and about. It's small, compact, battery lasts a long time, easy to set up, dongle's wireless, so of course you can take the diagnostics machine with you when you're checking various components under the engine without having to keep getting in and out of the car or tripping over the lead every time you want to move about. Screen's clear, it's touch screen of course, and so far the support on it has been very good. As I say, there's frequent updates, which is always a good thing as it adds more functionality as and when it becomes available, and of course means any bugs or issues, not that I've actually found any yet, will be resolved. So Topdon, they've got lots of various diagnostic equipment, battery testers, battery chargers, various different models of diagnostic machine, from lower level ones that are extremely cheap that will give you fault codes, right up to the models above this one, which are even closer to dealer level diagnostic machines. But this one reasonably priced. I paid about £300 for it, which, you know, compared to an Autel of similar spec, you know, is fairly on the low end price wise of the market. Yeah, if you have any questions or want any further information, then just leave a comment below, and I'll see if I can answer it for you. Thanks for watching.